Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all on the second session of 9th day of the ongoing workshop. Today, our resource person will be Miss Monica. She is a research scholar in the Department of Mathematics, IIT Ropar. She has completed her master's from IIT Delhi, and her working area is data science. She will give us brief. She will brief us about the hand-on sessions on Python. So, Miss Monica, you may proceed. Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Kuldeep will be the co-host for this meeting, so he will chair this meeting. So, in case of any queries, you may post directly to Mr. Kuldeep. Okay, Miss Monica, yes, you may proceed.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So good afternoon, everyone. Uh, so today I'll be discussing some basics of arrays, how we will handle it with NumPy, and then I'll come to the matrix factorization methods. So this is basically for the beginners. So I'll just share my. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I'll just share my screen. Hmm. Okay. So this will be, I'll be explaining how we can work with the arrays, especially NumPy arrays, matrix, and then some basic operation on that. Then I will move forward to the three or four different decomposition methods, how we can use the Python libraries to work on them. Okay. Um, So first of all, we need to define any array and matrices. To work on that, we have already a library which is the NumPy library. So I will import that library before defining any vector. So then let us define a vector x. Okay, so this will be, so if I'll define this vector as say 0 comma 3 minus 1. So this is the vector with scalar entries, right? So here, so now let's see. Use this. So this is basically the process how we define the one-dimensional array basically. In square brackets, we will have the scalar. Okay, so you see, this is X is an array with this entries. This is one-dimensional array. If we check the shape of this array, so we need to call that shape attribute with X dot shape. So it will give us 3 comma. So after comma we don't have any entry, which means that we have three elements in this. This is a one dimensional array. The shape is telling us the dimension of the array. So it is 3 cross. It's not 3 cross 1. It's not a matrix, just a single vector, one dimensional array. But when we have to define say two dimensional, then in that case our entries. So let me define a two dimensional array. So same, we will call this array function, and then our each entry here in one dimensional we have entries as a single scalar, but now we will use the one dimensional array as a single element for the two dimension. Like I'll start the square bracket, in that I will define my first element, which is say 2 comma 3 comma 0. This is my first element, which will be treated as the first row of the matrix. So then again, see, now I'm defining the second element, which will be treated here as the second row of the matrix. And then let's see. Okay. So now you can see that for this, we have the shape of this, sorry, it is giving us 2 comma 3. So it's specifying that in this array, we have two rows and three columns. right? Then let us define, let's see how we can operate our basic operation with that. Let me define one more vector, which is np dot array again. Let's take this one to the one. Okay. So when we, okay, this I will print x star, this star operator, and then y, and then I will print x at the rate y, and we'll see what difference we'll get. See, so here x star y, it's not doing this as a vector multiplication or a matrix multiplication. It is just the element wise product it is giving us. See, our x was 0, 3, minus 1, and this is, so you can see that this is our element wise product, and then x at the rate y, if I'm using, it is giving us the product of, it is basically the dot product of x and y. Similarly, we have other operations. We can use x plus y with element wise sum, x minus y for element wise subtraction and all. Those are just basic and direct commands. Apart from this, now we can generate the random matrix or a vector also. But for that, what we need, let's suppose define a random vector z. So how I will call this is np dot random dot, I can use after this random I can also use random dot random, or I can use random int. So difference will be there, because if I use np dot random with okay, random int is giving us, will give me the integer values. It will select randomly the integer values from this 100 is giving me the range. Okay, I want the random integer numbers from 0 to 100. So if I won't specify any size here, so I will get just a single number. Okay, so this will give me single. But suppose I want to I want a matrix or a vector of specific size with random entries. That we can also do. We just have to change np dot random. We have to input the, right, again. Okay, suppose I want the entries from 0 to 20, and then I'm specifying this in size, this argument, and giving it 2, 2. So I want this, and then my z is now c. So this is the 2 cross 2 array having the entries with between 0 to 20. Every time you run this, if I'll run it again, I will get the different entries, okay? Because it is picking up randomly. So this is about the how you can generate the random array or this vector. Now next part is, in arrays you need, sometimes you just need some particular values, some particular rows to operate on. You don't have to take all the matrix as a whole. So what we will do, let us define a matrix, then we can slice the elements at particular rows and rows with the slicing, how we slice the elements in the array as, let's say I'm defining this matrix. Let me define it as 2, 3, 4, and then I will define 1, 1. Okay, I'm just taking some random values and defining a 3 cross 3 matrix. So I forgot to put the square brackets. I have to, because I'm defining a 2D array. So this is my B, and let us see if I write. Okay, I will just start this from so now this my B, and then I am with square brackets. I'm using this colon. What this colon will do? This colon means before that, it means I'm selecting all the rows of B first, and then after comma I'll be specifying the index which I want to select a particular column of the B. Suppose I'm writing it as 1. Okay, so what it will do, this column will give you, will first go to all the rows of B and then it will select the first column of the this indexing 1 is column 2 is for the columns. So we have column indexing starting from 0. So 0, 1 and 2. So now in this from 1 to 2 it will select the first column only, because the last index, this index is not included while selecting. So let's see what element. So this is 3, 2, 4. This is a column vector. This one 3, 2 and 4. Let's print B also, so that the matrix. Okay. Now, so 3 to 4 is our first column. Again, I will add and print select some particular rows as well. Suppose I want 0 to 2. So I'm giving the indexing which I want to select with respect to the rows of the B, and 1, 2. Sorry. Okay, so I'm printing this. So, okay, so we can separate this. So it will select the 0th row and the first row, and corresponding to those rows it will select the first column. Okay, so it is selecting 3 and it is giving us 3 and 2. Okay. Now after this is the slicing, which we say as slicing in matrices. Then we can, okay, one more important command is reshaping of the array. What we can do is we can reshape the array, because sometimes what we encounter while dealing with the data in array format, that our arrays, when we operate, we need different dimension spaces, mainly for the multiplication part and that. So we need to reshape our array. So for reshaping, what we will, the command is, suppose my P was, it was 3 cross 3. So I will use the command b dot reshape, and in this I will enter the size in which I want to reshape my array. So like this, okay, while reshaping, we must keep in mind that the number of elements for B should be, the original B should be equals to the number of elements, or the size which I'm reshaping, the number of elements in the reshaped also match. They should match. So here we have 9 elements, right? So what size I can give? Suppose I'm defining 9, 1. So my new matrix B has the size. This is an store it in another form. Okay, yes. So actually it won't. So one thing here is that when I'm using B dot reshape, it won't change the B matrix. In fact, it is working on the copy of the matrix. So I have to store it in C, and now you can see my whole matrix that I've defined the B here as 3 in the 3 cross 3 form. It is now in the form of 9 cross 1. So this is one command related to reshape. Okay, then okay, now let's come to the linear algebraic operations which I can perform from the NumPy package. Suppose, okay, let me just define a matrix and then we will work on that. I'm defining this M matrix as so I am again using 3 cross 3 matrix, and then this matrix will have integers from 0 to 9. Okay, and so okay, this is our M. So suppose I want to know the rank of the matrix. Then what I will do, I need from numpy dot So this is one module in NumPy library itself, linear algebraic module. This is for linear algebraic operations which we use from uh, for this linear algebraic or metric operations. So we have lin alg. This is the command, and then from that I will import matrix rank. Okay, I am importing this matrix rank to know the rank of my matrix M. Let's see how. Then now I will just matrix. Okay, and in this I'm putting this. Okay, so it has 3. Rank of the matrix is 3. Similarly, we can also use, okay, instead of importing this matrix rank and something again and again, we can directly work or call our functions using numpy.linear algebra. Like suppose I want it as, suppose I want the eigenvalues. Here after the rank of the matrix, most of the time in linear algebra, we are working with eigenvectors and eigenvalues, right? So let's see if I see. Okay, I'm using NumPy with this NP name, right? So I can use that also, NP dot this, and then I will call this function EIG. Okay, and then I will pass the matrix. So here, let's see what it is. Now see the output, what it is this function is giving us. First, it has this one array, this array. Okay, and then we have this whole matrix. So this EIG function for M matrix is giving us the eigenvalues of this matrix, and then this array is giving us the eigenvectors corresponding to these eigenvalues. Okay, but suppose you just want to see the, let's check the we just want eigenvalues. If I pass, let's check if it eigenvalues. So if you just want the eigenvalues, you can use EIG VALS function to just have the eigenvalues only, and EIG of M will give you eigenvalues plus the whole matrix, your matrix of this eigenvectors. Similarly, you can also use, you can count, you can directly count the non-zero elements using count non-zero function, okay, for this M. So here we have 6 non-zero elements in M. So these are the small commands which you will need while working on any matrices or your data matrix in this small things. You don't have to always use loops, and you don't have to always, we have inbuilt functions for that. So these are some basic commands which I think is basic and you can use again, and these are widely used commands for the NumPy array. So now let us come how what are these matrix factorization and decomposition. So this matrix factorization means we want to decompose or factorize a matrix in the product of 2 or more matrices. Okay, so what is the use of that? So in matrix factorization, basically it helps in reducing the matrix in smaller or different matrices which are easy to compute. It will remove the time complexity of our program we are working, because here we are dealing with 3 cross 3 matrix, but in real, when we work with the real life data set, we have large size matrices, right? So for that, the computation time, space complexity, all these actually matters when so this matrix factorization helps in these areas, or we can say they are very reliable to work on, and time, reducing the time as well. And while especially in machine learning, so especially how these help. So basically, when we have data stored, so it is mainly used to discover your hidden features between different entities and this thing, because you cannot always directly get the relevant information with the data given to you. For that, we need like we have this SVD, singular value decomposition, which mainly work in the prediction ratings of predicting the basically it performs the task of predicting the ratings in collaborative filtering. I mean, this for the recommendation systems. Then we can use this factorization methods for low rank approximations and all. There are many applications which will be discussed by Arun sir in the next session, upcoming session. Okay. So today I'll just discuss how we can implement different type of decomposition using Python libraries. So let's first come to the LU decomposition. So what is this LU decomposition? In this, basically, what we do, we decompose our matrix or factorize our matrix in the form of lower triangular matrix and upper triangular matrix, and then there are many system of linear equation which we work, like ax equals to b, the main system which we usually solve in linear algebraic equation. So for that, there are situations when we cannot directly find, or it take lots of time to directly compute. So what we do, we usually apply the cross elimination method to convert the matrix either in the upper triangular matrix, and then we use back substitution to solve the systems. Similar way, we use the idea to decompose the matrix in the form of lower triangular matrix and upper triangular matrix, and let's see how we can implement it in that. Okay. So for that, this is defined. For this, I need to define this library SciPy, which is mainly used for these type of operations. So I will import py.elg. Okay, and it is from SciPy. Also, I'm using linear algebraic library as LG. So I'll, instead of writing scipy.linearlg all the time, I'll be using this short form LG to access the functions or attributes of this library. So let's take an array. We have an array. So I'm defining this 4 cross 4 matrix array, and then I'll call the function LU to get the factors of this A. So this is my array, and now I'm calling this lg.lu. So LU function, which will basically perform the factorization of this matrix in L and U and gives us the output. Okay. So it will give, okay, the output or the return, what this function return values will be the P matrix, L is the lower matrix, and U is the upper triangular matrix. Now let's print. So P matrix in this is called as the permutation matrix. It is related to when we perform some row operations on matrix A while performing this Gauss elimination. So regarding whatever row exchange we are doing, we do the similar row exchange in the identity matrix, and after the row exchanging, the final matrix is known as the permutation matrix. Okay, so that is the P, which is this, and then let's see. Here I'll just directly write this L, and okay, let's just see. So as you can see, so to get this L factors and U factors of A, we have this permutation matrix. So these are the row exchange form of the identity matrix. This is your L with the ones at the diagonal. This is your U, okay, upper triangular matrix. So this gives us the factors of A, and you can write it in this form now. Similarly, let's see how we can use Okay, one more thing, you can also check the time you're taking to compute this. How you can use it? So what I'll do, I'll import time, and then okay, I will save this start time. So this time function will store my time at the starting of my code, and then at the end I can always check the time we are using. Okay, so let's see. Or I can say now let's call this is time will give you the present time, and then I've stored the time at the starting, so I will start on codes. Okay. Time is not defined. What error it is doing? Let's see. Okay. Again, because I just directly after writing this. Okay, now this is fine. Okay, I imported this here, and then I'm just running this cell. So I need to run this again, and then I'll running this. So I'm getting 3.67 seconds. Okay. So this is how. Now let's see how we can use this is the application of LU. How we can use LU decomposition to solve our linear equations in this. So for that, what you need when we are solving, so now we have that we can write A in the form of LU format. Okay, so we want these factors, and then we will solve our system of equations. We'll work with the factors. For that, let's define a new system and the new vector B. So for the system of equation AX equals to B, my B vector is okay, and my A will be okay then. So this is my system of equations which I will be solving. Okay. Now this my A is this and this. So what I will do, I will call this function which is LU factor. So in LU factor, we get two return values and this pivot. So I'll store this in LU and PIV pivot, and then I will call it as LG dot LU vector of A. Okay. So this is your LU factor. So in this, how it is stored? So basically, this whole factor in this the matrix below the diagonal. This are the entries relevant to the lower matrix L, In that, the diagonal elements will be 1. Okay, the diagonal elements for the L or lower matrix is 1, and in this LU factor, these entries are relevant to the lower matrix. These are the entries of the L for this A, and the upper for the upper triangular matrix. These all entries above this are storing the values of the upper triangular matrix. Okay, this factor is this. Now, when you want to apply this LU decomposition for system of equations, what you need to do, we need to use it, the different commands. Let's store it in this. In that, you have to instead of directly using solve command, we will be using LU solve. Okay, and then LG dot solve command for this. In this, I have to pass first the LU factor and the pivot, and then the vector B which I have written. Now what this will give, this is taking this LU and pivot. So what this pivot is storing, let's just see this as well. This is nothing but the pivoting which we are doing to generate the permutation matrix. Okay. Okay, so this is your pivot array. This is just a list, or we can say one dimensional. This is a list. So what it is showing is that this means the this second. Okay, so this is the at zeroth index. This 0, 1, 2, and 3. So the indexing from 0. So the zeroth row of the P matrix that we have, the identity matrix, will be exchanged with the second row of the identity matrix. Okay, similarly, then we have new matrix. After that, we get a permutation matrix. Then the first row will again be exchanged with the second row of the matrix. So this pivot has uh, the row exchange. Okay, the pivot I implies the ith row exchange with the element, the entry in the array. Okay, so we need to pass this pivot as well, and this LU factor as well, and the B vector to get the solution. Let's see. So this is the solution for your system of equations. I hope till here getting what I'm trying to say, because this is just basic which you need to know before directly coming to the application part of this. Okay, similarly we can use this LU decomposition to find the inverse of A as well. So let's say our A is, suppose, let me define A again, I'll define a matrix. So how we can use this to find the inverse of A? For that, your B vector, what your B vector should be, instead of taking any B vector, we will be taking the, to get the first column of the inverse of A, we will be using the B vector as a first column of the identity matrix. So suppose this is, and then we have, so I can just use the same A, but here I need to redefine the B. Okay. So I'm taking this B as the identity matrix. So how I can define the identity matrix in this? I just have to call the function and pass this. So I want a 4 cross 4 identity matrix, and then I will define one empty array of size 4 cross 4, which will store the solution. So what I want to find the inverse using LU, right? And for this, each time I'll be using the first column of the B vector to get the first column of an inverse matrix. Okay, so and then I'll solve it again. Let's see. Uh, LG dot. I will first call this LU factor that I used to Okay, A, and then I will use the solve. So for that, since I want to solve, so I will use the loop because I need to take the 4 columns here. So I'll use the first range 4, which is the size of this matrix. It will go on this. So I'm saving it in column variable. Let's now what I will do, I will call or I will save that in this array form. The first column will come. So I will directly use lg dot lu solve again. And now I will use the slicing which I described. What I want, I will be passing this lu. Okay. And then I want to use the first column, right? So I'll be taking all the rows and then the first ith column every time. So it will run again and then we will save this column in our X matrix. So our X of I, nothing but, okay. Now I'll come out of the loop and let's print inverse of E. For that, since the values are stored in the row form, so we will print the X transpose to get the inverse of E. See, so what we are getting the inverse of A. Let's check whether we are getting the same answer or not. So for that, I will print using we will directly use the package already defined, right? So here, and then let's check what is there, lg dot inv. Okay, we just have to pass the A matrix. Okay. So you can see that it is giving us the approximate solution of the exact absolute. Some values are a bit different, like this. You can see. Okay, so this is how we can solve the use the LU decomposition for the inverse. Similarly, we have other decomposition also, which is known as Cholesky decomposition. So one thing in mind. So to apply this LU decomposition, we must have put this LU as the matrix A as invertible matrix, or it should be square first of all, and then it should be non-singular. Then, but then we have special cases also, like Cholesky decomposition. For that, we need this decomposition is for, it is similar to the LU only, but the difference is that when our matrix is of specific kind, what is that? If our matrix is positive, definite matrix and symmetric matrix, then we get this, instead of getting it in lower triangular matrix and upper triangular matrix, we will be just getting the A in the form of ln L transpose because of the symmetricity of the matrix. Okay, so let's see how what function we can call to apply this Cholesky decomposition. Suppose I have this array. So we will pass this symmetric matrix. Then I will call the function. Okay, in this form. You can also have this in the if you want to solve taking the upper triangular also. So that is also one and the same thing. You just have to change the argument in this. So let's see lg dot join. Okay, this it is already we have defined the function. Then we will pass the matrix C in this. And first, let's see if I just pass C, what I'll get. So here it is giving us the upper triangular matrix. So in this we can always get two forms, right? We can write it as L in the form of L or L transpose, or then if we want to solve with the upper, then we will get it as U transpose or U. Okay, but what if you want, you just have to change the argument here. Here, if you want this to be lower, there is this. If you write it as 2, so you will get the output in the lower triangular matrix form. Okay? See. So this you can directly apply this decomposition. It is especially the main use. It is very useful for efficient numerical solutions, which Cholesky is used, and also one of the use where it is widely used is to generate the correlated random variables. Okay, that you can see in the application part of this. This allows basically to simulate the uncorrelated normal variables and transform them into the correlated normal variables kind of thing. So this is the main wide application of this Cholesky decomposition. Then we have QR decomposition, which is again similar, but the form of this Q and R, or we can say the factors of that A, is a bit different. And what are these? Let's see how we can use that. Okay, one more thing. In this, when we are calling this function Cholesky, so here what it is doing, it is already the function is checking the matrix, whether the matrix is positive definite or not. But if I say, let me change this and let's see what output I will get, because this our matrix is not symmetric, but it's still giving us the output. Right. So this is one thing or bug in this, that it is not checking for the symmetricity of the matrix, but it will definitely check the positive definite. Suppose I change the first value here. This is suppose I'll make it as so. See, you are getting it error, so it cannot solve unless you will pass the positive definite matrix. So for the symmetricity, you need to check or you need to take care of that. So it is giving the error as the first leading minor of the array is not positive. So it is also giving you the position where you're, so for the positive definite, when we say the matrix is positive definite, when all the leading minors are positive, or in another form we can say the eigenvalues of the matrix. If all the eigenvalues are positive, then we can say it is a positive definite matrix. Other form to check, if you can say x transpose is always positive, so there are these equivalent definitions, or we can say the characteristics through which we can check. So just this how this function is working, I'm just giving the idea now. Okay, so now then comes the QR decomposition. Now in QR decomposition, what is the difference here is, you have like in LU you have lower triangular and upper, but in QR the R matrix here, this R matrix is the upper triangular matrix, whereas the Q matrix is the matrix with the orthonormal columns, orthogonal matrix. This Q matrix will be orthogonal. Okay, this is the difference. So based on the factors, how we factor the matrix, we have these different forms, and we can apply according to our convenience where we need LU, Cholesky, or QR decomposition and all. So again, we have this simple command for this, for the array. AS. All these functions are already inbuilt. That's why saving our time. And this, suppose this is my array A. again save this. We will call this QR function, which is predefined here. QR pass the matrix A. This is Q and we will put R. Okay, so you are getting your this matrix as Q and R form. This is your Q matrix, this is your R. So these are direct, you just need to know the function where it is defined or library where it is defined and the function related to that. You can always use the help command if you want some other changes, like let's say I want to know how these functions are defined. The help command is very helpful. You just need to call this using this. Okay. So everything which is given in this documentation of Python is described here. So this is a function QR in our module. This module it is defined. Okay, so QR. So this is giving us a function name with the parameters. It's also giving you what other parameters you can pass and you can change. Like A is your matrix, which I already used. We can always use override. What does this override mean over here? This means boolean. It will take boolean. It is optional whether you want to default uh, whether the data in A is overwritten or may improve performance. This is whether it's overwritten and all. This is different commands you can use accordingly, but by default it is taking it as false. Then there is this lbock also, which is by default it is none, mode is full. Okay, this mode is useful because in this mode what all other commands you can pass full, R, economic and raw. So this is if you suppose say what you want, either you can here it is by default it is full, it is giving me Q and R both the outputs. Okay, so but if you want only R, then you just pass R, and if you want economic size, for that we have to see what it is, but the final option raw edit is which makes the function return two matrices here other two matrices which Q and tau in the format you will get. There are packages with where they are defined. The pivoting is there, check whether the input matrix finite numbers or not. So these things are there. And then you can also see the return, what values it will return. Okay, here I'm storing this Q and R. So this is returning this Q matrix of the shape M cross M or M cross N for this. So for based on the mode, the size will differ. For that you need to go for the theoretical part, how this is working. But you can implement it again. Then we have this R format, R matrix, and then P with this array. So shape when you use this pivoting as true, and okay, you can always get this linear algebraic error if the decomposition fails, and also in the help they have given the short examples which you can refer according to your use. Okay, then so these are three decomposition. Then let us now come to the main, which is singular value decomposition, which is let us say okay, let me just define a small array. What is that? So this in singular value decomposition, what we do, we factorize our matrix with the help of the eigenvalues, or okay, the singular values. First of all, you need to know the singular values are the square root of the positive eigenvalues. Okay, or we can say non-negative eigenvalues of this. So we can say the square root of the all the positive eigenvalues of a matrix are the singular values. So we will decompose our matrix A in the form of U sigma V transpose. So what does this U sigma and V transpose implies? We will see what the form of this. Okay. So first let me define an array and then we can use and see the outputs, how this SVD works. So again for this we have simple SVD function. So I will store this in S. I will call lg dot svd to get the output of this A. And let's see what this we have this one. Okay, this I forgot this one. So this is your U, and then let's see what this S. So these are your singular values, which are the square root of the matrix or eigenvalues of this particular matrix. Okay. In SVD, basically, it is mainly used for the your dimensionality reduction task, which so we have like when you will be working with the data using the machine learning or clustering or image compression. There are many applications of SVD. So for that, your data is have some information in that form, right? But there are some irrelevant information also, or which are not required. So instead of storing the whole data set in that, you can use this svd format. You can reduce the dimensions of the data, and in such a way that most of your information, maximum of your information, whatever data is having, is retained with that. So what happens? This x vector have is all the eigenvalues stored in the decreasing list, right? So when what you can select the top. Suppose if you have 10 singular values, the size of the matrix is 10 cross 10, and if you have this S, so you can always choose to select truncate. You have this truncated SPD to get just top 3 values with the maximum information which your data is giving. So let's see how we can do that. We can check the shape of this matrix also. So this actually, if your A is the M cross N matrix, suppose. So this U, S, and V are what actually they store. This let me just tell you this part also. So this U is storing the eigenvectors corresponding to your matrix A transpose, and your V vector has the eigenvectors corresponding to A transpose N. This is how this decomposition works. Your okay. So what you are doing, you are decomposing your matrix in three different product of three different matrices, U, S, and V transpose. You can always get the K rank approximation of A by selecting the first K values of that also. So there are many different ways in which you can use this SVD singular, which Arun sir will discuss in the next session. Main application in image compression also. So how you can use this SVD to get the condition number. Okay, what is the condition number, or we can say how we can check the stability of the system. Let us see. Suppose my array A is this. We say a system is stable when the any small changes in that system doesn't change or doesn't make much change in the solution as well. But there are systems, we say that systems are highly unstable when the small changes or perturbation in the system brings the large changes in the solution. So we say that your system is highly unstable, and then using these singular values, we can easily check the stability as well. Let's see, I'm defining this system A, and it has the arrow and B. Let me okay. So I'll just directly use the command solve to get the solution. So these are the direct commands when you pass the system. You will okay. Let me just store it in. So this is your matrix, right? A is a matrix. You are getting this output as 1, 1, 1. And let me define. Let's make some changes in this array. Suppose you have, okay, I have 19, 11, 14, 14 entries. Let's make some small changes. Suppose I'm changing it to 19.01 and then 11 point again 01 or 05 and let's see. Okay, this is my, I'm changing, we are just making small changes, right? I'm changing the 19, 01, 11, and now that's all. It's for again, this is your, so you see the change in the solution. So what does this imply? Your system is ill-conditioned system. So directly instead of checking and changing that, we can work with the condition number. What is the condition number of A, which is the largest singular values divided by the smallest singular values. Okay. So if you have this, okay, I will save this. I will call this function as and then we and let's just call this lg.std for A, right? And then I will use this condition number. What I will do, I will do maximum value of s. I will use this as a function minimum value of s and then so this is the value. So you see this is so high, means the number is very large, the condition number, which means that your system is highly unstable. And also condition number also implies that your system might have a high chance of getting to be a singular matrix. Okay, so there are many other functions where you can use for this. These are the small examples. Basically, the main applications we will discuss later. Also, you can use it for the SVD for pseudo inverse also. So I have this code how we can use it for pseudo inverse. I can directly just a second. Do this. Okay. So let me just check it and we can see. Okay, what is pseudo inverse? So you know that every a non-singular matrix, square matrix, we can always have the inverse of that matrix. But there are general matrices and square matrix n cross n whose inverse might not exist. So when we try to find out the generalized inverse, we say it as a pseudo inverse. How we find it? So now I'm using the data set. Suppose we need the pseudo inverse specifically for the data or for the systems like integration problem also. What do? We have lots of data points in the form and we convert it in the form of matrix, and that matrix has unknowns, large number of data points, but the number of unknowns are small, right? Uh, for that, we say the system is inconsistent. It's not possible to get the unique solution for the system we can solve. So we work or we find the pseudo inverse of the matrix, and then we solve the system of equation, which is equivalent to finding the least square also. So let's see. So I'm importing this pandas library. So pandas library basically is for dealing with the data set. It's mainly for the data analysis in the form of data frame. So not in the array, but data frame. Okay. So what I'm doing, I have this data set, practice data set 1, which I have generated randomly just as an example. So it is saved somewhere in the form of CSV file. This is my comma separated file. This is how I'll read the file. So I'm reading this file from the my system. I'll read the CSV file, name of the file, and header none, because so it is stored in the data. Okay, now I'm converting my data into the NumPy because I want to apply this pseudo inverse. Okay, so I can convert it using data dot to NumPy. Okay, this is the data frame format. Then okay, let's see. You can see what this data has this form first, and then you can check the other form. I'm reading the data. Okay, so it has 100 rows and 3 columns. Okay, so my data is basically, so in what you do in like machine learning also, and for the regression problems, you have suppose uh, 2 or 3 or many features, but in this we have 2 features, and based this x1 and x2. These are my 2 features which is giving me the output y. Okay, so this is how my data is. These are the values stored. So this is just to show you how it looks. So what I'll be doing, I'm converting my data in the NumPy. Then I'm slicing. Again, I'm using the slicing. Okay, I'm taking the first column in X1. I'm storing this first column from the data, that is all rows, and zeroth column. Okay, and then I'm storing the second column in this data, and the last column of this in Y form. And then let's see, now I'm using this column coordinate. So what I'm doing, I'm making a matrix. So this X matrix stacking the columns. So when you write in the form of regression problem, linear regression problem, what you usually have, a plus b of x1 plus c of x2, and your aim is to find the a, b, and c. Okay, these are your estimations which you need to work. So but your A matrix is not a square matrix, it's not invertible. So what we do, so now your system A will be, first column have all the ones corresponding to the first stimulus. Okay, and then the second column is x1, and then third column is x2, and your unknowns are the parameters, right? A, B, and C, which you need to estimate. This is your x, and then we find the pseudo inverse of x using PIN inverse x comma. Right? This will give you the pseudo inverse of x, and this a. Okay, now how you will find this? What is the form of the pseudo inverse? So it is nothing but the A transpose A of inverse into A transpose of this. This your matrix is give you the A transpose A inverse, and then this will give you, but internally this function basically, this is using the SVD to find the pseudo inverse. Okay, you have different methods, different algorithms to find the pseudo inverse, but this particular function is using singular value decomposition to find this. So let's see what your output will be. Let's print this A. So this is your output which we used using this, but you can also solve it using your matrix algebra, x transpose x of x transpose of y. Okay. So same output you are getting. How this pseudo inverse work using SVD? Since you have decomposed your matrix A in U, sigma, or say S and V transpose, right? So what you will find the pseudo inverse with the transportation form as your all the diagonal elements, that matrix will be, this sigma matrix have the singular values on the diagonals. Okay, so we'll take the if you have d1 as the diagonal, d2, d3, then the inverse of 1 by d1, 1 by d2. So that is your sigma inverse of the sigma inverse matrix. Okay, and then your v trans v and then u transpose. This will be the pseudo inverse of your system in the form of SVD. So this is how you can use, and there are many other applications. This I have chosen the basic applications relevant to the beginners. These are the different forms of decomposition you can work on, and then you can see the applications of this in the next session using specifically of this singular value in the next session. Okay, so I'm open for doubts if you have any doubt in this.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. There
Okay.
is one doubt in the chat box. So, question is for inverse of matrix using LU decomposition, you used
Yeah.
x dot t while printing matrix. Please explain that x dot t again.
Okay, okay. That X is nothing but the transpose. Actually, what's happening is, let me just show you what this X is storing. When okay, so in xi, these columns are basically this array is this xi. So x0, it is for I equals to 0. It is storing in the first column is storing as a row. Okay, but what you want, your inverse, the basically the inverse of your A is in the stored in the form of row. So to get the output in the matrix or inverse form, A inverse, you have to take the transpose of that. Okay, this in loop, this is working like this. Your x0 has stored this in row form, each array. Then I'm taking this transpose of x, which is giving me the inverse. I hope it's clear, or
Okay, ma'am. Dr. Suru sir.
Yes, ma'am. Actually we got only one query from the participant. So if we
okay.
get more queries, so we will inquire you about those.
Okay, sure,
So
sure.
that's it from the lecture today, or you still want to continue?
That's it for the today. Application part will be covered by Varun sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for spending your time with us. And
Okay,
once again, I thank you.
okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Dear participants, so we will meet you today at 2:55 p.m. With Dr. Anuj from Punjab University. We'll continue with his fourth lecture today. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.